Hello and welcome to Mad About Superheroes, cartoon commentary of Spider-Man and his amazing friends. The episode that we're about to watch is titled Seven Little Superheroes. So pretty apparent from the title that there are going to be some guest stars in this episode, which Spider-Man and his amazing friends had lots of guest stars. This is a pretty good episode for that. And great intro, as I've said many times before. For anybody who doesn't know, I've done many commentaries on Spider-Man and his amazing friends and other cartoons like The Incredible Hulk from the 80s. I most recently did one for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Casey Jones episode, which is pretty good. So if you haven't seen those, you can go back and check them out. I'll leave a link with a playlist at the end of the video. Love the three characters running here towards the camera and the spider web. Classic, awesome image. And here we have the title card, Seven Little Superheroes, and the villain is the Chameleon, who actually appeared in Spider-Man's first issue back in 1963. First, of course, there was Amazing Fantasy 15, which Spider-Man made his first appearance, and he got the origin of the character. But the first supervillain he went up against was the Chameleon. If I remember right, I think he has a relation to, he's like the half-brother or something of Kraven, Sergei Kravinoff. Although the Chameleon's real name is escaping me. I think it's Dimitri something. I'm drawing a blank, sorry about that. I'm not one to jump on Google. I try to use my brain as my search engine. I've said that before. But here he's got the first... He's showing off his powers that he can. He's like a chameleon. He can change his form, and he's chosen the Submariner Namor, who made his first appearance recently in the MCU in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. And this is an obscure character. I'm surprised they went with this one with Shauna. They calling her the Jungle Queen in this, but the comic was Shauna the She-Devil. She had her own comic in the 70s, kind of like the female version of Kazar. They both occupy out of the Savage Land. But I like when they do that, when they use some of the obscure characters instead of the more well-known ones. It's to try to introduce them to a new audience, to the kids out there watching. And hopefully become new readers of the comics, So that's cool. And now they got, Doctor Strange, Captain America. Captain America guest starred. I think it's after this. It may be before this. I can't remember. But he was in another episode, too. I did a commentary on that one as well. In Pawns of the Kingpin. Which is funny because they also did an episode of this with... they had the villain as the Red Skull. And Captain America, if I'm remembering right, wasn't in that episode. There was a different character that they introduced. I forget. I have to rewatch it. But strange, yeah, they went with the Kingpin as the villain in the Captain America episode, and then the Red Skull, he didn't, that's his arch nemesis, but he wasn't in that one. I like this bit here where they got this letter attached to the building for Spider-Man. Nowadays it would be Evite, right, or you get a text message. People rarely use the U.S. mail anymore. But everybody's getting these letters. All the superheroes get these letters. Very simple premise. Chameleon wants to lure them to this island and pick them off one by one. That's his little rhyme that he repeats many times in this episode. The seven little superheroes vanish one by one. Seven little superheroes, soon there will be none. Ha 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 ha. Silly shit, but I love it. Simpler times. Not a very, as far as Spider-Man villains, not a very cool design for the Chameleon, his costume, but I guess it's all about his powers. He's got a cool gimmick. And then we get the little comedy bits at Aunt May's house, right? And Mrs. Lion plays a very integral part of the story in this episode. Huh. I think I've mentioned before, too, that I really like the Firestar character, Angelica Jones, but I think they went a little lazy on her look and her civilian clothes and look, because she looks very much like Mary Jane Watson. And then she was Mary Jane Parker, and then now she's back to Mary Jane Watson again. I'm not collecting a lot of modern comics, so I don't know what they're going with now. So yeah, they're all falling into the Chameleon's plot, because if they didn't, there'd be no episode. There'd be no story. Love the little comedy bits here with the Spider Friends. And they got the Namor busting through Iceman's little ice sled. And very arrogant, very true to the character. He's kind of a pompous jerk. But he's got the power to back it up. Like they call them super freaks. You're a super freak, super freak. Little Rick James for you. Sorry, I don't do the song as justice as don't do it as well as Rick James, but and now we got Doctor Strange. Love the whites on the side of the hairs. How many Marvel characters have the little whites on the sides of their hairs? Mr. Fantastic has it as well. That shows that they're distinguished gentlemen. So they got the teams together here. Doctor Strange, Captain America, Shauna the She-Devil, Namor the Submariner, and of course the Spider Friends, Iceman, Spider-Man, and Firestar. But they got to do the roll call, like I just did. I jumped the gun on it. The Chameleon's doing it for us. Super Patriot and Super Fool. I like that. But I guess because of it being a Saturday morning cartoons, they couldn't call Sheena the She-Devil. Can't say devil. But they say demon later on, so I don't know why they didn't go with the She-Devil. What's the difference, right? Demon and devil? Who knows? All the little rules and regulations that they had, We gotta protect the kids. Not that that's a bad thing. There goes that little rhyme again. And Ms. Lion freaking out. And Namor staying true to his character. The pompous jerk. Is that one of his superpowers? Being a pompous ass? He just tried to escape, and that didn't go so well for him. I like the waving fist. But it's kind of funny because they have these guest appearances, and the characters don't really do all that much, They have to be, they kind of get taken out kind of easy, and they need to be rescued by the end. Before Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness had useless cameos, Spider-Man and his friends did it first. Spider-Man and his amazing friends did it first. That's funny. So it's a mighty Marvel tradition to have cameos that go nowhere. But as a kid, I didn't recognize any of that. I just I was happy to see some new characters. Some I knew already from the comics, and then some I was introduced to, by a lot of these cartoons. In a lot of cases, I can't remember what I saw first, whether I was reading it in the comics or if I saw it on the cartoon, and then seeked out comics or happened upon comics after the cartoon, and then said, "Oh, I saw that in the cartoon," or vice versa. But I was soaking all this stuff up like a sponge when I was a kid, So I liked all the guest appearances on these shows. It's all part of the fun. And this is like what I was talking about, how introduce Namor, he gets taken out, and he's lying on the sidelines, for pretty much the whole episode. But he's a pompous jerk, so he deserved to be taken out first. But it's cool, like Spider-Man. They change it up every so often, but he's got a really classic look to him. His design hasn't really changed much since 1963 when he first appeared, which is cool. That's speaks to the design of that costume. It's iconic. Like I said, they do little tweaks here and there, but for the most part, it stayed that way. I remember when I was a kid in the 80s and they gave him the black costume, and it was cool. And, they gave it to Venom. They didn't want to just throw it away because it's a cool design. But, eventually Peter Parker went back to the red and blues, which is cool. Same thing with Captain America. They change it up every now and then, but they pretty much stick to that look. They're very iconic looking characters. Really speaks to the era. And Captain America was around since the 40s, actually, before Marvel Comics was a thing. They were timely, and I think there was something they were called something else before that. But Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, who was originally involved with the creation of the character in the 40s, they brought the character back when Marvel Comics snowballed after Fantastic Four did so well, and all these other characters, the Hulk that they were creating. And they wanted to bring Captain America back, so it's cool. But he retained that classic look, and today he still pretty much looks the same. I mean, the movie switched it up a little bit, but really retains the essence of the character, of the look of the character, which is very cool. So the Chameleon continues to do his thing. He's disguising himself as different heroes, and is fucking with the other characters. And Captain America made a mistake by trusting Spider-Man, who wasn't really Spider-Man. It was the Chameleon in disguise. And Ms. Lyon's freaking out the whole episode because she could tell she's got the, she's got this animal senses, so she could smell if it's really you or not. And of course, knowing in the core characters, the trio, she knows immediately that was not Peter Parker or Spider-Man. So it's cool just seeing these characters together, with some new heroes. A lot of fun. That's cool. I like that image of them coming through the window or the door or whatever. now that it's really Peter Parker, they think it's the Chameleon. It's the real Spider-Man. And Miss Lyon identifies him. It is the real Spidey, you dumbass. Love Iceman, but he's kind of a dork in these cartoons, in these episodes. Firestar's got to melt him out of the ice. Get a guy sick going from hot to cold. Or cold to hot. This would have been kind of cool if they did it like if this was the Savage Land, so that we could have got dinosaurs and things like that, other dangers for them to encounter besides the Chameleon messing with them. But it's just some remote island that he lured them to. And now it's Sheena's turn to get taken out of the picture. And, of course, even though it's Spider-Man and his amazing friends, Spider-Man's the title character, so he's got to be most of the time the one to save the day, So, of course, he's going to be the last one. Spoilers. I hope I'm not spoiling anything for like a 40-year-old cartoon. And that's bogus, too, where Doctor Strange a few minutes ago, he was saying that he was getting a telepathic message from Shauna. Neither character has telepathy. they gave him like Professor X powers. Doctor Strange is like a sorcerer, right? The Sorcerer Supreme. So that's funny. They just, make shit up as the story needs it. Lazy writing, But they got an excuse. It's an 80s cartoon, man. Most kids won't even, notice it. Like I said, for a lot of kids, these were probably the introduction to these characters. Although Doctor Strange did have a televised movie in the 70s. Marvel was doing that for a while. They had some kind of TV deal, and that's why we got the Doctor Strange film. And then they had the Amazing Spider-Man had a TV show in the 70s. And of course, the most well-known one is the Incredible Hulk. And then they had two Captain America made for TV movies as well, where Captain America had this like transparent shield, looked kind of like glass, and he had this motorcycle helmet. It's fun stuff. It's really if you watch it today by today's standards, they're kind of boring at times, but back then we didn't have as much as we do now, so you kind of took what you got, took what you can get. trying to put the kibosh on Firestar. But the real star of the episode is Ms. Lion. Everybody wanted that. What everybody, was dying for that Ms. Lion episode, and we finally got it. Uh-oh. Now the Chameleons and Firestar's duds. And how many episodes did they do that where they get Firestar, with ice, and vice versa for Iceman, get him with fire? Shauna's back. That's funny. Seeing Firestar and then Chameleon's voice coming out of her mouth, that's funny. And it's like the dead giveaways, the echo in the voice. That's so that we know, that the audience is in on it. But the dummy is standing next to her, or him. I like this bit too. This is a cool, I don't know if it's supposed to be an animatronic, but Doctor Strange in a minute calls it a demon, like I was saying before. It's pretty cool design. I like that though. The design of the demon. It's cool looking, but it's not gonna, don't get too used to it because it's not gonna be there for much longer. I like that it's got like a Cyclops sign that shoots beams out of. That's cool. And now it's got Doctor Strange. Like I said, pointless cameo. It's cool to see the characters, but they don't do shit. It's kind of like one of the commentaries I did was for the origin of the Spider Friends, and Tony Stark makes an appearance in that, and you get like a brief cameo for Iron Man, but Tony Stark is useless in that episode. He doesn't do shit. Even worse than this. He just gave up trying to pretend he's just... It's funny. And she was literally just standing right next to them. They could have just like grabbed her, punched her in the face, anything. Or him. Love the cartoon sound effects. So far, the Chameleon's plan is really coming to fruition. He's really systematically taking them out one by one, just like his, when he busts that rhyme. Uh-oh. There goes Shauna again. He took her ass out twice. The defeat's so nice, they had to do it twice. It's always like her falling. Love the ice sleds that Iceman would do from episode to episode. Cool use of his power for him to get around. Very unique. Ooh. Why? All of a sudden he lost his powers. Just so that, again, lazy storytelling. There's no reason why he should have lost his ice power there. And if he really lost his ice power, wouldn't he turn back to Bobby Drake? This bit is cool. I like this that's coming up here with where they got Firestar on one room and then on the side of her is Iceman in the other room. And she's trying to use her powers to get out of this prison or whatever. And then Iceman starts to use his powers, and since they're right next to each other, their powers are kind of canceling each other, or they're like fighting against each other, unbeknownst to them. So that's a cool bit. I like that. Well done, Chameleon. Yeah, she's turning up the heat, and he's bringing on the ice. That's cool. Burst the pipe. From them doing that. That's funny.
I guess that shows the Chameleon who he's dealing with.
They don't make cartoons like this anymore. And for good reason. But I guess Iceman won that bout because Firestar's frozen in the ice. That's cool. The fire bars. Like he's in a little prison with fire bars. So now it's down to one. But can the chameleon thwart his arch nemesis, Spider-Man? Oh, good old webhead. Spidey in a web, caught in a web. Is that ironic? That's a cool design too for this spider. It's like a robot spider. That's cool. But again, don't get too used to it because Spidey's gonna make short work of it. The webbing on there is electrical wire, and he's just gonna electrocute the shit out of it. Even the underbelly, that looks cool too. Yeah, like I said, quick and painless. That's cool, the little contraptions they got them captured in. Except for Doctor Strange, Captain America, and Sean are just in a regular jail. Why can't Doctor Strange use some of his magic to get them out of there? Or Captain America's got like a vibranium shield. Why can't he break through the bars? But, you know, don't try to inject logic into Spider-Man and his amazing friends. Although I do like this bit that Spidey does here to get them out of their prisons, where he uses his heat lamp that was on Namor to dry him out onto the ice that Firestar is encased in, and then it melts in the water and it gets on Namor so that he can, you know, come alive again. And then the water also washes over the fire bars that was on Iceman. So that's pretty cool. And now Namor is going to use his incredible strength to smash the machinery that I think was somehow imprisoning, or it was somehow stopping Doctor Strange from using his powers, and now he can use his sorcery to get them out of the jail. Whatever. And the chameleon, you know, that all these supervillains, when all else fails, just blow everything up. That's the chameleon's end game here. Is just blow. He could have just did that from the beginning, I guess. Lower them to the castle and just blow it up. But he came with all the other elaborate shit. But there'd be no episode if he didn't. Like I said earlier, it's all part of the fun. I like this where it's Spider-Man just rolls up next to him, arm rested on the back of the chair. The self-destruct is counting down. Spidey using the Spidey webs. Spider-Man trying to freestyle. It's a good thing he's got a day job as a superhero because he sucks as a rapper. It's a cool shot of the heroes. Yeah, I don't know why Doctor Strange and Namor, they just like watched what Firestar was doing. That was kind of funny. Yeah, they don't do much in this episode. And now Spidey's got to use his Spidey line to rescue Ms. Lion, the real hero of the episode. She was like the lie detector test in the, you know. Oh my God. Ms. Lion will be signing autographs at the end of the episode. Oh my God. But that is the episode, 7 Little Superheroes. Tons of fun. Really enjoy revisiting it. I hope you guys did as well. And we will see you on the next cartoon commentary. Thanks for letting your geek flag fly with Mad About Superheroes.